Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everyone and welcome to another round of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy Season 16 PC F4 League. And tonight the drivers commence battle at the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix, round 12 of this 21 race season, which has seen thrills and spills in the previous 11 races. So while this race provides us with similar action, we have 35 laps ahead of us to determine that outcome. This is the 33rd time that the F1 circuit has come to this 2.7 mile circuit. The first time we came here back in 1986 was the first race held behind the Iron Curtain. 14 turns on this circuit, 6 of them to the left and 8 to the right, and the dash down to turn 1 is 618 meters long. So expect drama coming into there on the first lap and definitely throughout the race. 3 tyre compounds available for this race are the same as last week in Hockenheim. The ultra-softs, the softs and the mediums. We could expect similar qualifying outcomes like last week, as the soft is the ideal starting tyre. I am James Costello, one of your commentators for today's race, and alongside me in the comment box, Jens, you are going to go through the standings right now, as apparently we have a new championship leader.
Yes, indeed we have. We have Serd in the lead of the championship with 1 point with his win last time out in Hockenheim. And we have Rysan in second place, and as I said, 1 point then behind. And we have Serdai in third place with 105 points. Then we have Cry6 with 84 points, just out of the top 3. And then John Engberg in fifth place with 72 points. Return with 57, and Robert with 39. Then we have Jeff Kane and Big Boss both with 38 points. Then we have Hooper rounding off the top 10 with 36 points. Then we have Hitsonen with 32 points, Richie B with 23 points. Then a big gap down to Rienk with only 9 points. Then we have both Tom Lippman and Eli with 8 points. Then we have Coyote with 6, Mob with 2, and Martin, Latsera and Otto all with 0 points. And as we look over on the Constructors' Championship, we have Williams in the lead with 36 points, down to Haas in second place with 194 points. And then we have Sauer in third place, last on the podium with 174 points. Then we have Force India with 126, then Ferrari with 110, then Renault with 100 clean, and then we have McLaren in 7th with 74 points. Then we have Red Bull with 52, Toro Rosso with 32, and Mercedes rounding off the teams with only 10 points. As we go on here directly into qualifying, as you see here, all the drivers are either out on a qualifying lap or out on an out lap. Only Serd is still in the pits.
Yep, championship leader currently in 5th place provisionally because no one has set a lap time. I'm trying to find someone who's got out there early for their banker lap and who is close to finishing a lap. Eli is the first one to register a time. So 118.4 on the medium tyres. So yeah, we are going to expect some varied strategies and saves race from Richie B. Already beats that. But in qualifying, it might be similar to Germany, where we see some guys going for track position over the long game, really, as Kane actually proves that, going on the ultra-soft tyres and setting a very quick 15.7, so he's already 2.4 seconds ahead of Rayner, who is actually a new guy to this league. I think he's a reserve currently, as I think game mode was unable to attend this race. He fits in alongside Mob in the Mercedes, and yeah, this should be very exciting qualifying session. Rain is a possibility here in Hungary. We saw it in real life in qualifying. Doesn't look like it's going to happen today. It's clear skies. Well, not clear.
No.
There are some clouds, but it is sunny. For the most
Yeah,
part.
you know, but in 13 minutes the weather can change quite a lot. It's it's a low possibility, but could happen. And but as we see now here with the drivers mostly on medium tires, looking to go for the one stop. Maybe the guys on ultra soft maybe thinking of going for a 2-stop to just make it quicker and trying to overtake the others. But Hungary is infamously hard to overtake on, so maybe that's just shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, Hungary's nickname is Monaco without the barriers, because it's super hard to overtake. If turn 1 and maybe turn 12 are the only real overtaking opportunities, and that's if you force your opponent into maybe making a mistake on the final corner. It's very difficult to find that gap opening to put your car down the inside. And yeah, especially turn 1 and turn 2, that sequence, it does really give the defending car an advantage, because if you're on the outside at turn 1, it'll turn to the inside for turn 2. So in the overtake, the car that wants the car that's in behind the overtaking car really is at a disadvantage.
Yes, indeed it is. As we see here, Lazzaro currently with a 1:51 time, going wide most
It's
every
right front
corner.
ring.
Yeah, his left front wing is missing some bits. It looks like he may had a go into the barriers, or maybe a collision with someone. Yes, we see here third on a flying lap, it seems. Yes, indeed, with the hot lap ERS down the right-hand corner. Coming here through turn 4, I believe it is. Going through there with full throttle, coming here down to turn 5, then turn 6. Turn 6 a bit off camber, quite hard to sometimes get the power down. Then into the chicane here, where Hamilton, I think, was spinned out in qualifying. But it looks like
Backed
here
off.
that third has backed off as he went down to non-ERS mode. Maybe his lockup there into the chicane, there he thought, I'm not going to do this, it's going to be too bad of a lap time.
Just check the race director, he invalidated his lap time, so it's maybe turn 4, maybe the chicane at turn 6 and 7, but turn 4 is notorious for picking up those track limit warnings. But I think he's going to go for it again. He's got enough ERS and he's not got a fuel light warning, so he is able to go again on these medium tyres. So let's go on board with him. About half the field are either in the pits or just on their outlap right now, so you know, it's a bit of a mixture of cars. We could spectate, but seeing as Zerd is now the championship leader and he's down in 16th place without a time, it seems quite logical for us to ride on board with him once again. I think let's ride on board with him. Coming up towards turn 4, this is where he got his lap invalidated probably. And look how cautious he took it, nearly lost the rear end out of that corner. Just taking it extremely cautiously. It's very easy, as I said, to get a warning there, and into the chicane at 6 and 7, third gear through there, now into the very tight and technical twisty 8, 9, throw your car in there, now the flat out turn 10, and now turn 11, so difficult, 6th gear, you take a little lift from the throttle, get on the curves, and now head down towards turn 12, a bit of heavy braking zone compared to most corners, now the penultimate corner, swinging left-hander, third gear, maybe second, turning, doesn't decide to do that now into the final corner, 4th gear. He had a good exit onto the stop finish straight in the race, but it's not really important in qualifying. Up towards the line now. Zerd actually goes second fastest, so he's the quickest guy on the medium compound tyre. So you could say that is technically provisional pole. Kane is way out there. He's not going to get challenged by anyone on the medium tyres, maybe not even on the soft tyres either, as Otto actually put his car on the second row on those yellow striped tyres. Zerd setting the benchmark for all the others on the medium tyres to chase.
Yes, indeed, as maybe Lazzaro could challenge him on some ultra soft tyres. As we see here, Ryson setting a 1:19 time on his outlap here, coming around for what seems could be a qualifying lap, but he's only using, I think that is overtaking ERS mode. So maybe he's going for another warm-up lap, just trying to take it hard and see where he can push the car. Trying to find those tenths of second, because those can be crucial in the end, in the battle for pole position.
Definitely. Speaking of pushing, that's exactly what Zerdai is doing right now. He's on the medium tyres actually, so the timing screens on the left are alleviating us a little bit, saying he's on the ultras off. But yeah, the man who he missed out on Germany. Obviously, he is technically in this championship battle, but we really can't afford to have these did not start, especially come the latter stages of this season. Looking to make his mark here in 2019 at this circuit. He's currently down in 18th place without a time so far. He did set a time previously, which was invalidated. Now he is 19th place, I think, because Johan Emberg actually manages to put his car ahead of Zerd, but he's on the soft compound tyres, so don't really compare those two times that significantly. Zerdai is rounding the final corner right now in the Williams. Currently last, looking to jump up the pecking order a lot, and he puts his car only 6th place, so he's alongside his teammate Otto for the time being on the medium compound tyres. It's only a 10 from Zerd, mind you, so it is nicely congested from 3rd, probably onwards to around 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th.
Yes, indeed, that whole top 10 is looking quite close, except for the front 2, but they're on the soft and ultra soft, so not looking to be challenged too much, maybe by Lazzaro or Return. But yeah, nicely congested at the top there. That's what we like to see. Maybe some close battling through the race, as we saw in Austria, for example.
Yeah, definitely. That was a great race, Austria. Hopefully we see the exact same here, but unfortunately Hungary is known for not being a track you can overtake on. Neuenberg's doing another lap. He actually improves a couple of tenths there. 1:16.4 he sets in return, actually. Goes 3rd. Lazzaro's now 2nd, but he's on the ultra soft tyres, so he's kind of put his car in jeopardy being on the ultra soft tyres, as has Kane. It's pretty unlikely that those two are going to improve on another set of tyres, so they've pretty much confirmed that they're starting on the softer compounded tyres. Then it's all about track position for them two. As who's gone wide at turn 2? Johan Emberg has just let you guys through, I guess.
Yep, as we have Reina on a 3rd lap old medium tyre, going for another qualifying lap here, about to come around to the line through the last corner. Through there, opening the DRS. What can he produce? A 1:17.2, but only enough for 5th place there. Just under 2 seconds behind 1st place. And then
ahead of Zerd, though.
Yep, ahead of Zerd, the championship leader.
Crucially, Zerd is now on the soft compound tyres. There's 5 minutes remaining of this qualifying session. Most drivers actually in the pits, but a few guys have decided to get out early. One of them being Zerd. Yeah, as Return comes into the pits, Lazzaro does, Emberg probably will, Reina will, so it's pretty much Zerd out on his own with a few exceptions who are away from him. So he's got a lot of clean air to attack this lap with full pedal to the metal. As he heads into turn 2, we're looking to improve on that 1:17.3, I should say. It's going to be a likely sort of outcome, since considering he's on the soft compound tyres compared to the mediums, as that Red Bull gets out of the way very conveniently indeed. Through turn 5 he comes now, upwards, a little bit of an incline towards the chicane of 6 and 7. Does that very nicely indeed, and now into 8, 9, up towards 10 and 11. As, yeah, pretty much everyone is now in the pits. The Zerd carries on his way, goes a little bit wide at the exit of turn 11. How much does that cost him? We'll have to wait and see. In towards turn 12, a little lock up on the right front there as he comes round the penultimate corner. Another lock up from Zerd, so this doesn't really, it's a bit of a messy, scruffy lap here, but he's got another corner to alleviate here, and he does that very nicely indeed. Up towards the line now, DRS open, he's 4th place for the time being, and it's not enough to get ahead of Johan Emberg, who's on the same compound of tyres as the championship leader, but he's got a bit of distance between himself and Heitelen, who's in 5th place at the time being. Only 4th place is Zerd.
Yes, indeed, not something Zerd wants to see, but crucially, Ryson is only down in 12th place. He'll be hoping to set a faster time than Zerd, or at least a faster time than that, in this qualifying session. He's now out on the soft tyres, about to start his 2nd flying lap, I believe it is, and probably also the last flying lap.
Kane and Lazzaro are both on the ultra soft tyre. Sorry to interrupt there. So they're definitely going for this pole position. So pole position is between the McLaren and the Renault, but I'm not really sure it's worth looking at who the pole is. Really, 3rd place is technically the invisible pole, you could say, because it's just it's a pole position in disguise, you could say, because that's definitely going to be where first place will end up, probably after lap 5 or 6 when the top 2 come into the pits.
Yes, you could almost call it the Formula 4.5 pole position, as those two on the ultra-soft tyres are almost untouchable. But as you see John Engberg with a close time to Lazzaro, but Lazzaro did put his time, I believe, was it on soft tyres? Now he's out on the ultra-soft tyres. Now we have Rysan here on the soft tyres, trying to set a better lap time. Coming here through, coming down to the penultimate corner, the almost 180-degree corner. As he comes through the last corner, gets the throttle down as we see John Engberg retiring. Then we have Rysan coming over the line for 6th place, just behind his teammate, or actually getting pushed down by Chrysix, now down to 7th place. As we see Kane not able to improve on his lap time, it looked there.
Oh, he did.
Oh, he did? And
yeah.
Oh, Lazzaro's crashed! That is a crashed Lazzaro without his right front tyre. I didn't see what happened, I just cut to him and saw him without his tyre there. So that'll mean that he's out of this session.
I don't know how his tyres will. I don't know if that lap, if he didn't improve on that lap, but if he crashed with those tyres that he's starting on there, they're definitely not going to be in good shape. As Zerd actually comes out on his lap back, so he's going for it once again. A lot of drivers now on their final dash to the line to improve on their times right now. I don't know if anyone. Well, obviously, everyone will be on their flying laps. Big Boss come up towards the line. He goes 7th fastest. So the man who started in the front row in Hockenheim is now only 7th place for the time being. So I don't think anyone will really challenge Johan Emberg unless someone can. Chrysix go around the final corner, but he's on a very, very slow lap. It's 1:21.2 for him. That's Mercedes coming around the final corner. It's Rayner, and Rayner is unable to improve Robert. No, that was Martin the Jesus not able to improve. Robert's actually coming around the final corner, and he's actually up on his time. Currently in 10th place is Robert, yet to score a podium in Formula 4. Up towards the line, Watts' car is starting in 8th position for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and I think that is that. That is, yeah. I think
no, we have Ryson still. No, it looked like he's backed off, going down into a lower ERS mode. But Rayner still in hot lap ERS, but having that fuel icon blinking a bit, maybe that means that he won't finish this. But it looks like he's still pushing, trying to get that. Oh, a Serdai puts his time 2nd on the board with a 1:16.0, faster than Lazzaro on the ultra softs.
That is a super competitive lap time. That is a way to re-establish yourself back into the F4 League after a race out. 2nd place in the front row for Zerdai, I should say. As
yes,
Ryzen.
Yes, he does. As it looks like Rayner has stopped his flying lap, at least backed off quite a bit, and Chrysix goes into the pits. That will mean that the standings are Kane on pole position, then Serdai on the second person on the first row of the grid, then Ryson and Lazzaro on the 2nd row, then John Engberg and the Champions League third on the 3rd row. Then we have Hitznen and Chrysix and Big Boss and Robert rounding off the top 10. Then we have Return, Dewey Coyote, Martin and the new guy Rayner down in 14th. Then we have Otto, Hooper, Eli and Marb starting from last position.
Yep, that is all she wrote for qualifying, and unsurprisingly, it is someone on the ultra soft tyres taking pole, but Lazzaro, I'm not really sure that's a confidence boost. Having 2 guys on a harder compounded tyre start ahead of you, that's really put your position in jeopardy, and I'm confident that it might get past at least one of the guys, 2nd or 3rd off the start, with those fresher on pound of tyres, but then it's going to be a real tough ask to keep them behind for the time that his ultra soft tyres last.
Yes, indeed it will, as it looks like Kane and Lazzaro both will be going for that two-stopper on those ultra soft, but
Yeah.
it'll be a hard one because they will need to stop 2 times and need to overtake the guys in front of them, and yeah, that will be a big challenge. Maybe some of the guys further down will maybe try, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, it is clear skies for the race. If it was wet conditions, everyone would have bolted on ultra soft tyres and went for the track position, which is only 2 people have decided to do that, compared to the 19 drivers we have. Speaking of 19 drivers, that's really going to hurt Kane and Lazzaro even more, because they're going to have to slice their way through even more traffic than Hooper had to congest with last time out, which I think was only 13 or 14 drivers in Hockenheim. Now it is 90, nearly a full grid. We are 1 short, but that, with the vast amount of drivers that are on show, that could provide a great showcase of racing.
Yes, indeed, it could. As we're still waiting for some of the drivers to load in here as we go to the track. Here we have them going out on the formation lap. As we see how are the tyres looking for the guys further down. Yeah, it looks like everybody is sticking to the same tyre that they qualified on. No major changes.
Yeah, just Kane and Lazzaro being those 2 anomalies on those purple striped tyres. Lazzaro actually jumping the gun a bit early there on that formation lap. That was a bit mischievous there. Obviously, everyone has to stay in formation. He nearly loses it on the next turn. So the last thing we're going to be doing is pushing on the formation lap, so everyone gets their tyres up into optimal working range, and yeah, they carry on from there.
Yes, indeed. As we here see the drivers really just getting up to temperature, ready to push for the 35 laps ahead.
Yep, the track is quite short compared to most, so that is why we've seen 35, obviously 34 in Hockenheim, I'm pretty sure. So this race will go right down to the wire. 19 drivers, as I said, and obviously only really 2 main overtaking spots, but on the first lap, any corner could be an overtaking spot, as the field is so congested on the opening lap.
Yeah. As the drivers also just trying to gain as many positions as possible on the first lap. Just trying to get the race in check. Always we'll see one of the Williams almost crashing out there, actually crashing into the wall. Reina getting disqualified there.
Ouch, yet they've both been plopped back onto the grid as everyone starts to form onto their grid spots. Marb in 19th, rounding out the grid, bursting his way onto his grid spot, and now we can get this race underway as the 5 lights are approaching the drivers. 3, 4, 5 red lights ahead of the drivers, and it's lights out, and away we go. I think Dana got the best start out of the top 2 as he head towards turn 1. Kane and Williams side by side. That's Renault and Masalba side by side. It's 4 wide in the midfield in towards turn 1. Zerde with the inside line squeezes his way past Kane into turn 2 as Zerde takes the lead. Lazzaro following close behind, side by side between the 2 ultra-soft runners. Lazzaro goes extremely wide as Kane sticks his nose in. They're going 3 while Lazzaro might take the lead here. No, he doesn't. He manages to squeeze Kane wide, and he's up into 2nd place. Kane in 3rd, Rising in 4th. A few going wide in the midfield in towards turn 4, all holding stations side by side between Return and Big Boss for 9th and 10th as Kane heads Rising. Look how close Lazzaro's getting to the back of Zerde. His ultra-soft tyres working better than Kane's, obviously, as he's lost 2 positions at the start. Zerde, the championship leader, still in 6th place. Krysik's following behind him. Hayden in 8th, Big Boss in 9th. Return losing out to the Ferrari, and he's got Dirakusi for company there, and was there someone sliding out the exit of turn 9? Managed to regain their control. Actually, Robert is without a front wing here. He's down in 19th. He's had an absolute dreadful opening lap, and he's going to have to come into the pits to repair that damage as Lazzaro takes the lead ahead of Zerdai. What has happened to Zerdai? Kane tries to go around the outside of him into the final corner of 14, but Lazzaro are very ambitious to get past. He's probably into turn 12. He managed to do it, but he takes the lead. Kane closing, he's going to dive it up the inside of the Williams. Williams shouldn't really fight this hard because they're on two separate strategies. As Zerd actually gets past Johan in the process. So yeah, Kane actually manages to get ahead of Zerdai, so he's gaining one of the positions he lost at the start. But Roberts, with an absolutely dreadful start, he's way down the pecking order.
Yeah, as he goes onto the ultra soft tyres, as he'll be going, trying to go long and try to switch onto the mediums. I believe that would be the strategy. And there's some. Who?
That's Zero. He's spun at the exit of turn 5. He's facing 180 degrees the wrong way, and he's come back onto the track. He went from 1st to 18th within a few seconds there. Absolute disaster.
Yep, as that's not something you want to have happen to you on the second lap of the race, as it is so long, and now he has to overtake the whole grid if he wants to get up to the top again. And with these drivers' pace, I know that's going to be very hard to do.
Massive disappointment for Lazzaro. He's shaking his head in the cockpit. He knows he's blowing it. He knows he had a great chance to get past and to stretch his legs out in front, but no, not today. And he's actually spun on turn 13 there. And his Germany race looked promising at the start. It all fell apart for him, and this is exactly what's happened. He's going to come into the pits. Yes, he does. So he's going to actually lose that 19th place to Robert, as who's squabbing the midfield.
Martin going almost round the outside, as he goes round the outside and down the inside of Richard B for what would be then 12th place, as we have their Cozzie getting in, or Mark getting into the fight there, and Rain as well down in the last positions there, just outside the top 10, as they're very close to each other, just in the dirty of each other, trying to get out of it and past each other.
Yeah, a lot of drivers closely congested. The top 4. I've got a bit of distance for Johan in 5th place. With Kane leading a train of Zerdai, Ryzen and Zerd. The 3 championship protagonists all following closely behind each other and closely behind Kane. Now DRS is now activated, so this will help Zerdai heading down towards turn 1. He's pulling it to the inside alongside the McLaren. Is he past McLaren? Inside line goes to him, and yes, he's got past Kane, and he retakes over the lead of this Hungarian Grand Prix. Ryzen will try a late move into turn 2. Kane locks up, so it gives Ryzen incentive to try and get past him, but he holds station for the time being. So Zerdai has got a car in between himself and Ryzen, and he'll try and pull away now, because Kane will start to hold Ryzen up through this sector where it's very hard to overtake.
Yes, indeed. This could almost be Monaco, but without the barriers.
But look at Zerd. He's on
yep.
the inside of Ryzen into turn 6. Oh, they squeeze each other out. Zerd left on the grass there. Here comes Johan is getting really interested in this battle. Ryzen had a massive tank slip in the exit of turn 5. That gave Zerd a little chance to do a cheeky dive down the inside at turn 6. You don't really see side-by-side moments through there. It's sort of tight chicane, I should say, and Zerd got squeezed out there by Ryzen. Firm but fair, you could say, was Zerd losing out there, and Johan and Krysik's now very closely behind.
Yes, indeed, as we now have Zerd up behind Ryzen, as they will be trying to get close to each other and battle it out for what is the championship lead. As Zerd is going here in first position, just creating a gap as Ryzen goes down the inside of Kane into second place. Will Zerd come from behind as Kane goes wide? Zerd just had a look down the inside as he thought better of it, and he'll now be desperate to getting past Kane up to Ryzen, because he doesn't want to lose his championship lead, as I think that was Lazzaro getting a 3-second time penalty. As we have Third almost diving it down the inside of the chicane.
Certainly pushing Kane through the sector. Kane goes wide at turn 8. Can it invite Kane? Zerd, I should say, to get past it. Oh, it's so frustrating inside that Haas cockpit because it's just so hard to overtake. Can he throw up the inside of turn 12? He's going to go for it. Late move contact between the two. Zerd's had a half spin, and that's cost him nearly split 4th place between Johan Emberg. He sends it up the inside of turn 13, side by side between the Ferrari and the Haas, and Ferrari squeezes his way into turn 4, but Zerd is fighting back into the penultimate corner, and can he retake that 4th place? Yes, he can. Johan Emberg gets squeezed wide. Kreisig is now side by side between the Haas. Johan Emberg's getting interest as well. This could get very hairy. It's oh, massive contact. Johan Emberg and Kreisig come together. Johan Emberg might have not seen him until the very last moment. Oh, it's contact between Johan Emberg and Zerd. Zerd gets forced off the track there as Johan Emberg has lost front wing and he's side by side between Big Boss. Oh, Big Boss gets forced off the track. Johan Emberg is causing a major collision, spiraling, everything spiraled up, and Kreisig has lost massively. He's lost front wing elements. Zerd has lost out. I think he's damage free, but he's trying to go around the outside of Big Boss, who's been forced out wide by his teammate. Absolute calamities for Kreisig, but for Johan Emberg, he's without some parts of his front wing, and he's caused major controversy.
As Lazzaro gets a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. So unfortunate for him down in 19th place. As Kreisig is all the way down into 12th now 13th. As Marb overtakes him. As the two Ferraris are battling into the last corner. As Third has a great view of this, maybe he'll try to capitalize off it into turn 1. As Big Boss and Johan Engberg are going side by side. As Third comes from behind, Big Boss is past Johan Engberg, and as well as Third. Third will now try to go down the inside, but no! Johan Engberg comes back at him, but with a 3-second time penalty now. As well as Hudson going down the inside. Now Lazzaro gets a 10-second time penalty. As now Third, round the outside, off Johan Engberg. Up into 5th place. Can he do it? Yes, he can. And he makes the move stick.
Oh, that was a chaotic 1.5 laps, and it's seen Kane have a massive advantage over Big Boss. Look at the gap between 2nd and 3rd. It's 6 seconds between Verizon and Kane. Kane's actually managed to do fairly well here. Just carry on it without having to battle anyone, because Johan Emberg's caused a major pile-up, it seems, as everyone's following him. It's the Johan Emberg train. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, all so close to get together. Returns going down the inside of Heitinen into turn 13. Return to the outside for the final corner as Kane actually comes into the pit to serve his first pit stop out of 2 that he'll make, and Johan Emberg could be a sitting duck down the straight. Heitinen, it could be 3 wide. It is going to be 3 wide, you know. Johan Emberg, Heitinen, and Return all coming into turn 1, so close to get contact, and Return gets squeezed out there, and here comes Thierry Coyote out of absolutely nowhere. He takes a 6th place from Return, but Return's going to fight back side by side between the Haas and the Red Bull, the Finnish and the Dutch, and Thierry Coyote comes out victorious, and Heitinen now comes into contact, and he's going round the outside of turn 4. Can he make that move stick on Return? Yes, he can. Inside line for turn 5, still going side by side, wheel to wheel. Great stuff. Oh, excuse me, between these two, as Heitinen has the inside line for the chicane, and he manages to take 7th place off. This is absolutely great racing, but I'm sure some of these guys might be frustrated as to see all those drivers flying off into the distance.
Yes, indeed, and I'm sure some of the drivers will protest this to the stewards after Johan Engberg's collision earlier, as Thierry Coyote tries to go around the outside of Johan Engberg, but he's getting forced wide a bit, almost into the pit lane. as Johan Ingberg goes into the pits now to take a pit stop to get his damaged front wing fixed. As there we have is that Marb, I believe it is, going down the inside of Richie B into turn 1.
And return side by side with height in it as well as action wherever you look. I don't really think Hungary was going to fry up this sort of action as Otto with a very late move down the inside of turn 2. He's made contact with Marb, and Richie B actually gets past both of them. But Otto's going to fight back for this ninth place. Round the outside at turn 4, he gets forced off the track by the Toro Rosso, but he's got the inside line. He makes contact again. He's in a spin. He's going to make contact. Yes, he does.
Oh, is he spinning again?
Oh, Eli just about manages to avoid getting collected by the Williams, as that's the Renault of Lazzaro just sailing back past an Otto. Oh dear, he's had some terrible luck with collisions so far this season, and Hungary has not gone much better. Flies off the road at turn 8, and that allows Kane to get past. Oh, will he get past? He's on those fresh soft compound tyres. It's Otto. Oh dear, he slammed into the barriers, and that is all she wrote for Otto's race. He's pretty much done and dusted as Hayden actually comes into the pits. As let's take a little bit of a breather. Can we take a little bit of a breather? Because Richie B and Rayner are very close. Look at Rayner. He's going to maybe throw up the inside of turn 1. Is he on the Toro Rosso? He thinks better of it as Otto's retired.
Yes, indeed he has. After that chaotic couple of laps where he lost all of his front wing and then went into the barrier. It looked like he had some troubles as well when he was overtaken by Robert and Krysics. As we here see Rayner very close to Richie B, thinking of going for a move but thinking better of it. As third is also trying desperately to get past Big Boss up in third place, as you can just see Ryerson getting further and further away.
Yeah, the top 4 have pretty much stabilised themselves, and it's Zero Coyote leading, Return leading Hooper for 5, 6 and 7. Anyone going to dart into the pits for an undercut? Maybe Zerd decides against it. This is where we see the pit window really starting to open, and the strategies really starting to come into play. Remember, Zero Coyote and Return both on the medium compound tyres, so they're going to go longer than the top 4. At least Hooper is in the middle of these 3 medium runners, as Marb in 8th. As Krysics and Johan Emberg actually coming together. They're side by side through turn 13. Krysic down the inside, getting past the Ferraris. Really seemed to struggle and past few laps after that contact, coming into the pits and really not liking those medium tyres. That's Heiteren just ahead of him. He's on one lap old medium tyres, but that's not something. Krysic's going down the inside of turn 1, side by side between the two of them. Can Krysic force his way past Sal, but they're still side by side, but that direct advantage does prove pivotal, and he is now up into 14th place and now can start to gain. Oh no, but he gets a massive tank stop next to the turn 2 there, manages to regain control. So someone had an off in sector 2. It is for Lazzaro. Oh dear. Oh, has he come together with the barriers, or has he just let someone through? He is lapped, which wouldn't surprise me.
Yes.
I don't see any cars in his front view there, or his rear view either. So I think he might have had a bit of a contact with the wall.
Yeah, but I don't think he has lost any. Oh yes, he has lost some of his front right end plate there, as you can quite clearly see from a side view, as he dives into the pits again here on lap 12. Really unfortunate for him. Really not the race he had hoped for here in Hungary.
Nope, still without points is Lazzaro, and he'll be gutted with how his race looks so good. On the end of lap 1, it's the end of lap 11 it will be for him, and he's in the pits the second time, and he is I'm surprised he hasn't called it a day, to be honest. He might be going to the fastest lap come the end when the fuel is low and the track is very rubber down. Just take away that particular bragging right, but right now, 18th place, last by a big margin. But I should say, is first by quite a comfortable margin over Ryzen, who's in second place by a very comfortable margin. But Big Boss can't really be said for him. He's got Zerd right behind him, DRS open, but Big Boss seems to be going in the straights here. Maybe his setup allows for less drag on the straights. Maybe that might hurt him in the corners.
But sorry to interrupt you, as Rayner tries to go round the outside of his teammate Mob into turn 1, as they're very close together here at the bottom of the top 10, as Rayner is down the inside of him in turn 2 here, and he makes the move stick to go up into 8th place in front of Mob.
You're right, the two Mercedes squabbling. Do you remember in 2014 where that was a crazy race where the two Mercedes actually, well, Hamilton was instructed to let Rosberg by, but that didn't happen, and they didn't actually manage. Well, I think it was the last lap where they were both they kind of came together and Rosberg got squeezed off the track a bit. But nice respect between both Mercedes drivers. I think Mob actually realizing that Rayner is actually the quicker of those two silver arrows, but Rayner on the soft compound tires will come into the pits quite shortly with the next few laps, and Mob obviously on those mediums will obviously look to go a little bit longer.
Yes, indeed he will on those mediums, as Rayner is choosing to stay out for at least another lap here on lap 14.
Yep, I would expect some of the soft runners to come into the pits within a lap or two, as Lazzaro keeps out the barriers just on turn 5. It's literally like an obstacle course for him, because he's literally spinning like every other lap, it seems. He's really not liking this track, it seems. He did tell me before that it really doesn't suit him. He really didn't think he was going to get anything from this race, and that's exactly what he's not getting. But will Zerdai come into the pits? He's got Lazzaro ahead of him, and he has to take a little bit of avoiding action as that Lazzaro rejoins the track. No real harm done, but will he come into the pits to fit on a set of those white striped medium tyres? Will he? No, he won't. He's going to stay out for another lap. Will Ryzen try the undercut? Nope, he doesn't. Zerd actually might try an undercut here. It might be sensible for him to do so, as Big Boss actually decides to do the undercut himself. So he's the first of the big guns to come into the pits here. Slow down and make sure you don't speed, because that will be pretty much race ending for himself with his battle between himself and Zerd. Oh, just soft tyres going on?
Yes, indeed.
That's interesting. So he's going for the 2-stop, it seems, rather than the 1-stop, which I thought was the preferred option. So unless our screens are deceiving us, he is now going to have to go. He's going to have to put these on, do qualifying laps, it seems. He's got a lot of ERS to use, then come in for maybe another set of soft compound tyres, and then carry on from there. But that's a very interesting call from the Ferrari man. I'll be interested, I should say, to see how he fares.
Yeah, maybe he's confident that he can be the faster driver and overtake the rest of the guys not making a 2-stop but only making a 1-stop. But it is going to be interesting to see what he can make of the 2-stop.
Definitely, as Third Eye stays out, Ryzen actually comes in pit. So let's see what tyres the Soundman darts on, and Zerd actually also joins him in the pit. So a little bit of a wait as he's in the Sauber, which is obviously the last garage out of the 10 constructors. I see white tyres being prepared for both Ryzen and Zerd. Ryzen stops on his box nicely, as does Zerd. The white stripe medium tyres coming on, and Big Boss is now coming into the pits. It was a mistake, surely, going onto the Ultra Softs.
Yes, he's in again for the medium tyres. Oh, calamities in the Ferrari garage, as they put him on what is seemingly the wrong tyre.
Oh, he must be shaking his head in absolute frustration. His big boss, he's down in 15th place. Absolute disaster. He's behind Hooper, who was in about 7th or 8th before the pit stops. And Big Boss obviously being on that 3rd spot. That false pit stop has really cost him. I was surprised by his choice of the Upsoft tyres, and he must have been even more surprised when he saw those purple tyres on his car, and he must be absolutely livid. As actually Johan Emberg might get interested in heightening size of this contact. No, there wasn't. Just a bit of a lag on my screen. This is about off at 11th place. Richie B heading Heitenen, heading Johan Emberg, and look at Hooper. Hooper's right on the tail of the Ferrari, and Big Boss will surely, with the pace he's been showing at the first stages of this race, will surely latch on to this pair.
Yes, he will, as we have Big Boss here coming behind with those new medium tyres, locking up a bit. He's just licking his lips, sitting behind, just trying to catch up and just waiting for any of them to make a mistake or maybe battle a bit too hard so he can just nip past them for an easy overtake. Now he has lost so much time. As we have Serda here in the net first place, only just over a second behind Return in 2nd place.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how Zerdai plays this game with Return. He'll catch up to the back of him, obviously seeing as how on 16 lap fresh and medium tyres. But I wonder how long Return's going to go. He's probably going to pit around lap 20, lap 21 if he's feeling very optimistic with his tyres, if he's managed them to very well, I should say. But Zerdai gaining ever more. He's actually dropped back a little bit, maybe to save some time, but that Rison's only 1.5 seconds behind the Williams man, so he's gained about a second in the pit stop phase, and Mob is actually got past Mob in 5th place, so this battle for the inevitable lead is that Sarah's out of the session, which doesn't really surprise me, seeing as how wretched his race has become. But yeah, Zerdai, Ryzen, the battle for the effective lead is getting ever closer, and Zerdai might get held up behind Return. I don't know how Return would really do this because his teammate Zerd, obviously leading the championship, the last thing he wants to do is help out Zerd's championship rival Ryzen. So maybe Return might play the team game here and let Zerdai through and then hold up Ryzen for the final few laps of his medium tyre stint.
Yes, that could be, but you have to remember Serdai is also a bit in the fight, so if you can manage to hold up both, maybe help Serd out a bit, coming past Martin and Marb, and maybe catch up to them, but if he holds them up too much, they can just nip past him, and you also have to remember to pit in at some point, because those tyres are now 17 laps old. Going on to be 18 as he's continuing on. The same with Fury Coyote in 1st place.
Zerdai gets a good exit out of turn 14, and now with DRS, ARS and Slipstream Return. Look how defensive he's going. He's definitely defending his position. Zerdai forced to the outside line at turn 1. Could switch back to the inside of turn 2, but Return holds his position for the time being. But Zerdai gets a much better exit, and now wheel to wheel between the Williams and the Haas. Haas cuts him off very aggressively there and keeps hold of that 2nd place. Great defending by Return. Great decision making from him and Zerdai as well to avoid contact, but this is just bringing Ryzen into play here. Only 1.1 behind, and the Return being quite slow now. He's lost ground between himself and Dira Coyote, the man who was battling at one stage, and now Ryzen only 1 second behind, just lurking there, waiting for an opportunity to arise. Maybe if Zerdai just goes wide in the dirty air of that Haas. Ryzen definitely does not need a second invitation to go through an open door, and there's more with the background. As Zerd actually managed to get past Martin, so Zerd now up into 6th place, 2.4 behind Mob, and when he gets past him, he will be right on these two.
Yes, indeed. Maybe this is what Return is hoping to be able to do. Hold Serdai and Ryson up so much that Serd can get in the fight. And then just let him by easily. As Serdai goes round the outside off Return. As Serd sets the fastest lap. But they're side by side, Serdai and Return. As Serdai makes an easy move into turn 2. And goes past him with a bit of desync, I think they were there. As now Ryson will be behind, thinking I need to go past him, or else I'll lose out to one of my championship rivals.
Yep, Zerdite, great move there in towards turn 2. Return really couldn't fight too hard, otherwise it probably would have come into contact there. Now Ryson is licking his lips over the fact that Return is right there for the taking, but in this technical sector, we're just seeing Zerdite pull away 1 second already, the gap between second and third, as Zerdite starts to reel the leader of this race, Cozzie, in the Red Bull. So Zerdite will challenge him. Actually, security who actually comes into the pits. Return carries on. So Return will now take second place, but how long will that last? It could last not even one corner here. So here comes Ryzen so close in the slipstream of the Haas. He pulls out to the outside, going round the outside of turn 1. Return, will he fight this? He will, you know, but Ryzen to the inside line for turn 2. Already passed him before the second corner. DRS helping him ever the more, and now he has passed the Haas man up into second place. Now he can get chasing after Zerdai. 1.5 the gap between these two, and Return, his job is done. He can now come into the pits on this lap, and now he can just hope and pray that Zerd can catch up to these two, and maybe if he doesn't, maybe penalties might come into play later on.
Yes, indeed, as many of the drivers have been awarded time penalties for just cutting the corner. Many of them could have been on that chicane, as it's quite hard to hit that point exactly and not cut it too much, but cut it just at the right angle so you don't get a penalty, but optimize the time you get through there. As we have here Ryson up in second place, just trying to catch after Serdai, but Serdai is looking to be keeping that gap nicely around 1.4, 1.5, actually extending here on the straight. As Return, as you said, went into the pits, and now Serd is up into third place, desperate to catch after both Ryson and Serdai.
Yep, 5.1 between second and third as Return comes into his pit slot and now comes out. Where will he come out? I think he's going to be comfortably in 7th position. So Cozzie and himself are in a prime position to take some good points here, as Kane obviously in 4th place for the moment will have to pit again. So that puts him out of the equation. Rayner very nicely in 5th position, doing very well on his debut. He obviously was in season 14 in F3, I believe. I think he was actually in Assist 1, if that name does recall. Actually, I was in there, but I think he only lasted a few races when I was in, so he went into F3. Now he is back for F1 2018 and in F4, and he's doing a very sterling job right behind Kane. Obviously, Kane, those soft compound tyres are wearing a lot, and they're crying for help because Rayner is surely going to try challenge and move down the inside. Kane covers him off though, and here comes Cozzie for this battle for 4th. Well, Kane comes to pits, massive lockup on the left front there at turn 13. Kane carries on for another lap, so it's 4, 5 and 6 McLaren, Mercedes and Red Bull going on to the start-finish straight. Cozzie are really closely behind Rayner, but Rayner with that DRS will surely try and make a move on Kane. Kane goes defensive to the inside. Rayner might try and do the switchback. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact between himself and the Red Bull, but hurling down towards turn 2. Side by side, Rayner with the outside line. Kane trying to hang it on in there. Wheel contact between the two of them. Can Rayner hang it round the outside? Turns to the inside for turn 3. He makes the move stick. Here comes Cozzie out of absolutely nowhere, side by side. Oh no, there's contact. Rayner's in the wall. Oh no, Rayner has been. Oh, Oh, 3 wide nearly into turn 4. That was always gonna create a incident of some sort, and it is Rayner in the Mercedes on his debut, stuck in the cockpit. Can't believe what has happened, and that is a very bad accident that might be taken to the stewards. We don't know, but Tirakuti very optimistic there, going 3 wide. Who backed out? Who's at fault? We don't know. All that matters though is that Rayner is pretty much out of this Hungarian Grand Prix.
Yep, as he's still sitting here down in 17th, but as he gets moving again, here coming around and just trying to turn that car with having lost most of his right end plate. Really unfortunate, not the first race he wanted.
Definitely not. As it turns, actually managed to get past Kane. So Kane falling down the field now after that incident. Maybe he picked up some front wing damage. Is actually battling for 7th and 8th. Heitinen and Richie B going into turn 2 side by side. The Sauber has the outside line for turn 3. Richie B puts that to his advantage. They're still going side by side. Ewan Himberg's getting very interested. Got a great ringside seat between these two. As Heitinen goes wide at turn 4, come out and right Richie B to go around me instead of turn 5. It indeed does, but they're still side by side, heading down towards the chicane. Heitinen should have the inside line, and does. So Heitinen is got a bit of a train forming here. Richie B, Johan Himberg, Hooper, and Big Boss with Mob and Martin not too far behind. Don't count out Robert, just actually Robert's on medium tyres, which are 18 laps old. Forget about him.
As we have Rayner going into the pits, putting on wet tyres, and then now retiring from the session. As he just parked up.
Sorry to interrupt. Big Boss and Hooper have come into contact. They're hurt. They're battling for the final points-paying position. Big Boss has lost out massively there, as Mob and Martin has lost out. But Hooper, look how expensive he's going to the inside of turn 1. Mob might take 2 places in one go here. 3 wide into turn 1. Hooper stays ahead. Mob and Big Boss.
Sorry to interrupt. Rich B was round.
He was wound, he's lost places, and Hooper sends it up the inside of Mob, and he manages to keep the place, does he? Yes, he does. So Mob now into that 10th spot, with Big Boss still going side by side. We didn't expect anything like this at Hungary. We thought he was Monaco without the barriers. This is definitely not proving the case, but unfortunately for Richard B, as you mentioned there, down in 14th, had a spin on the exit of turn 1. I don't think he picked up any front wing damage, but that has really hurt his race, and now he's going to have to climb back up to this pack, and especially with all these guys battling, I don't think that's a tough ask.
As we have Robert behind this pack, just trying to hang on in there with those very old medium tyres, but he will surely be going into the pits on this lap. No, he carries on, just trying to keep going on those very, very old tyres, as we have Kane on his 18 lap soft tyres going into the pits. And puts on
Mob going down the inside of Hooper. Oh, will contact between the two of them. Hooper is a bit of a tank stab on the exit turn 1. Thanks for that contact. But can Mob force his way round the outside of turn 2? No, he might try to switch back, but Hooper places his car in the correct position and manages to stay ahead of that Mercedes, who looks quite quick. So far, we haven't really seen Mob really having a good, clean race so far this season, so it's really nice to see the young Dutchman able to fight, really, for these positions, and it might be for a good position, good finishing position, come the end of the race. It's on 5-lap soft compound tyres, compared, well, obviously Heitinen and Johan Himberg are on very old medium tyres, so they might have to pit again, but Mob got a good strategy in the Mercedes pit crew, and as his teammate has retired, he's the one to hold the flag for the Silver Arrows as he tries to get past Hooper, but back out up at the front here. It's really not happening between Zerdai and Ryzen. They're really holding station Return close to Dirakoti, but Zionenberg extremely close to Heinen. Is he going to force it down the inside? Late move under braking by Zionenberg. The Sauber and the Ferrari going side by side. Johan Emberg's been involved in a lot of action so far in this race. He manages to get ahead as Mob's massive dive bomb at turn 2. Has it paid off for him? I think it has, you know. He forced Hooper off the track there, and they're still going side by side, the Mercedes and the McLaren. Oh, there's contact! Oh, no,
big crash!
Oh, massive shame. Hooper and Heitinen collecting each other. Johan Emberg also in a spin. That's probably the third major collision we've seen in today's race. Everything is happening in Hungary. It's like a wrestling zone here because everyone seemed to come into contact outside the top 6, and Mob has been gifted here because he's in 6th place ahead of Big Boss, and he could unlikely get chased after return. But 6th place for Mob would be a great result, but unfortunately for Hooper, Johanenberg and Heitinen, it's all fallen down the drain into the toilet, into the sewer system, and out of into the sea, to be honest, because it's gone horrifically bad. That collision, I don't really know who's at fault. I think it was Johanenberg and Heitinen going side by side. Turn 4 once again, providing a major action zone and providing another collision.
Yes, indeed, that turn 4 has been somewhat of an incident provoked, as we here have Robert going down the inside of Martin as they're still battling here, coming up to turn 4 as Martin was thinking of going down the inside but thought better of it as he went a bit wide there, almost locked up and almost went into the back end of Robert, as Robert is on 22 laps old medium tyres. I don't know how he's still managing to hold it together.
I think he might unfortunately have to dive into the pits. If he can go 7 more laps on those compounded tyres, then fair play. He must be a tyre saving god, penalty accumulating god as well, because that's what he's been renowned for so far in this season. But I don't think he's picked up too many penalties so far in this race. That's something we've got to keep an eye on. It's actually Return has managed to get ahead of Dirakoti. They were battling. Return was gaining on the Red Bull for a few laps now, and he's turned that gain into a big plus as he overtakes him, but Dirakoti trying to fight back through turn 4. Maybe you might have seen all those incidents happen there and realised that the last thing I want to do is create another collision and ruin both mine and Return's races, especially seeing it is for P4, so 12 and 10 points on offer for these two, and that's pretty much all she said, because these two are got such a gap between themselves, and Mob in 6th place, 15 seconds between 5th and 6th, but I think these two might be the main talking points from the top 5 at least. There's still a train. Martin is forming a nice little train between himself, Robert, Richie B has now climbed his way back up, and Kryzix. We haven't really seen a lot of him so far in today's race after he collided, I think, Johan Emberg, and now he's climbed his way back into 11th, and he might be wanting those points that the 2 Pink Panthers and that blue and red Toro Rosso occupy right now. As onto the main straight we come now. Martin under pressure from Robert, Richard B under pressure from Kryzix, but I think no moves will happen. Richard B's going to dive it down the inside, is he? Thought about it? Nope, not going to happen on this occasion. He locks up into the bargain as well. That's not going to help his 14-lap old tyres. Robert might start to struggle now. 24-lap old medium tyres. He could be seeing the latter stages of those tyres, and they might be starting to call for some help as he's got 2 cars very eager to get past behind him.
Yes, indeed, as we saw Richie B getting quite close to Richie B, but then just backing off a bit, just thinking I'm going to wait to make the move, not make it rushed or anything, just sizing up the perfect time to go down the inside or around the outside in any of these corners, maybe waiting for the straight. But as my controller once again disconnects. Begins to be some kind of a problem here. But yeah, as I said, Chrysic's just sitting there and starting a move on Richie B.
Definitely, this battle for 8th might go right down to the wire, as onto the main straight we come for their 31st time. Anyone gonna go for a move? Richie B's getting closer to Roberts, who locks up, and Richie B nearly hits the back of that Pig Panther, but just about manages to avoid that Force India. As Martin seems to be backing up this pack a lot. 4.4 seconds between himself and Big Boss. Good recovery from the Ferrari man. He managed to stay out. The only trouble he's been experiencing is his Ferrari carriage again making an error, which we've seen a lot of in real life, as Heitinen sets the fastest lap of the race. So surprise was on new purple boots, but I don't think he wanted that. He might actually get lapped. Look at Zerdai. Zerdai is only a few seconds behind that Sauber, but Sauber might actually start to pull away as he's on those very, very fresh ultra soft tyres. As anything happening, Chrysix has got past Richie B at turn 12 there, so Chrysix getting past one of them, and Robert actually might be a sitting duck now because he's not got that benefit of DRS. That might be what Martin was trying to do, holding up these guys so Robert could get that DRS advantage, but that is not happening right now. And Chrysix with DRS pulling out to the inside already. It's already a done move. Sealed, and yeah, there we go then. Chrysix manages to get past Roberts up into 9th place. Sealed, delivered, and done in a very nice manner. But can Robert fight back? Nope, he just doesn't have a tyre life.
Oh yeah, as you said, he really doesn't have the tyre life to fight back. As those mediums, they're really 26 laps old. It looks like he's going to the end. But could he maybe create some drama with a tyre puncture? Because as you know, it's not over until the fat lady sings. It can look certain, but it looks like Martin is off here. With those not so old, or actually maybe time to pit stop for those soft tyres if it was earlier in the race. But as I was saying, it is not over until the fat lady sings. As we just saw, everything can happen until the flag falls at the end.
Yep, and 3 more laps of this race. Mob and Big Boss actually coming into the battle. Mob defending this 6th place for all his might. He's only picked up 2 points so far in his season, and this would put him right up the order, up I think maybe into 16th or something like that, with 10 points to his name. Big Boss has picked up a few more, but we're looking to get 2 more points on the board after what could have been race for the Ferrari man. As Martin actually comes into the pit, he might have actually. I think he just ran out of tyre life, did the Force India, and now he's out the points. So that promotes Richie B up into 10th. So he'll get 1 point. But yeah, I think the only battle really happening. Giracoti's fallen off a turn after he got past a few laps ago. It's 6th and 7th, which we probably finished the race on, as yeah, everyone else settling in to their groove. I think the guys from 14th, 15th, and 16th are all going to go fastest lap, it looks like.
Yes, indeed, as they're all on the ultra soft tyres, as we have all the others on quite worn tyres with both some mediums and the soft tyres. But maybe Martin will try to go on the last lap for a fastest lap of the race, just going flat out with some of his ERS. Whereas we see here Big Boss behind Mob, trying to stay within the slipstream, as there's some yellow flags in Sect 2. Could that maybe be for Martin getting lapped, or?
Yep.
Okay, he's just getting out of the way, as Big Boss is just getting closer and closer to Mob, as they're on the penultimate lap.
Kane actually got past Richie B, as Martin unfortunately left the session. Only 2 laps to go. He has completed the percentage amount to get classified, but down in 16th place. Not really going to matter in terms of points. Kane, yeah, Kane got past Richie B, so he's on those fresher ultra soft tyres. 4.8 seconds between himself and Robert. I don't think that's going to happen as Zerdai now goes into turn 1 for the 35th and final time. Only 2.6 miles of tarmac for the Williams to alleviate and circle his way round for final time. Big Boss and Mob getting ever closer. They're still on their battle. They're coming round turn 13 right now. This is Big Boss's real only opportunity to get past the Mercedes, which we saw in real life. Bottas and Vettel going for it. The Mercedes and Ferrari, he doesn't get a good exit there, and I think his chance is gone. Yeah, look how far back he is after that poor exit on the final corner. He's blown his final chance, and unless Mob makes a crucial mistake, that will be 6th place for Mob. Where's Zerdai? He's coming around turn 11 right now, so I think we'll go on board with him as he rounds the final few corners. The man who's took 4 wins so far in his short but sweet F4 season. He's missed Germany, but he's come back in fantastic style. He rounds the final corner. It's a 5th win in his F4 season. Zerdai wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's Ryzen who comes home in 2nd place, and Zerd actually with great pace at the end, only 1.7 seconds behind his championship leader, but that means Ryzen will retake the lead of the championship. 2 points now. It's getting so close as he heads to Spa next week. Return comes home for a great result for Haas. 3 and 4. Gunther Steiner will be a very happy bunny on the pit wall. Dirakoti comes home in 5th. A great result after carrying that good momentum from Germany onwards. And Mob is rounding out the final corner, and he's going to take 8 points. Very well done to you indeed, as Big Boss. Actually, no, he doesn't. Mob had a penalty. Oh, I thought it was 8 points. It's still 6 points, which is very well indeed. Crysics and Big Boss actually going side by side. Crysics was very quick on those 16-lap old mediums. Robert manages to get a point after having the bad start, but getting no front wing on lap 1, and those 30-lap old medium compound tyres taking him to the end. That is worth a mention. Well done to you, sir. But you lose a place to Kane thanks to penalties. Eli, unfortunately, in 11th and outside the points. And that is all she wrote for your Hungarian Grand Prix. A lot of drama, and look how overcast it's got.
Yes, indeed. Could maybe have seen some rain in there, but is this like the real life Grand Prix? It is sunny all the way through, and then after the race it begins to pour down with rain. Maybe that could happen.
Typical, but it is the 3 championship protagonists occupying 1, 2 and 3, and it is Zerdai winning once again in the Williams, and he'll help that constructor standings for Williams, who were leading, didn't score a lot of points last time out, and now that will definitely help him as we can now run through the classification. Yep, Zerdai wins, Ryzen in 2nd, Zerd in 3rd. Neither 3 of them taking any penalties, so Zerd was just some great pace at the end, unfortunately couldn't filter into getting past Ryzen. They just had too much pace. A long way back was Return, picked up 2 3-second time penalties, as did Dirakoti, as did Big Boss and Mob in 7th place. Crysics in 8th, Kane in 9th, and Roberts rounding out your top 10. Eli in 11th, Richie B unfortunately down in 12th. Heighton and Johan Emberg making it an all-finish 7th row, I should say. Hooper and Martin in 15th, 16th. Rayner and Lazzaro and Otto are your 3 DNFs from this race. And a lot of drama, a lot of chaos, but we saw some great overtaking as well. And Hungary, we didn't really expect to be a great race. We thought it might be just a bit of a procession, just like Monaco. But the drivers proved us wrong, and how they did. Some great action from start to finish. We might be seeing some stewards' inquiries. Thankfully for us, we are not stewards, we are commentators, so we don't get the pleasure of having to decide those. We saw a great show, didn't we?
Yes, we did, and we'll see you next week in Spa. Actually, that is in Belgium for the Belgium Grand Prix with the infamous Rouge. And we'll see you. Have a good one. Goodbye.